Suicide Squad was a film that everyone just was like, okay, let's make a movie. So, today I'm going to be giving you guys my spoiler-filled discussion on Suicide Squad. Two things to recommend. Two things to point out. Number one, this is going to be a spoiler-filled review. I am talking deeply in depth of the video. Not the video, of the film. So definitely go. If you have not seen Suicide Squad, definitely don't. And the second thing, if you have not seen the extended cut of Suicide Squad, but if you've seen the theatrical, still leave this video because I'm going to be talking about the extended cut in this video. So, what do I think of Suicide Squad? Well, I think there's a lot of hate in this film, and some hate that's deserved, some hate that's, I think, is just so over-exaggerated that to the point of just like, okay, it's not fantastic, it's not The Dark Knight or anything, but it's not a bad film. So today I'm going to talk about, let's talk about stuff. So what I guess we can mention is the cast. Let's talk about Will Smith as Deadshot first things. I really like Will Smith. And he's great in Men in Black. He's good as a fish. As Deadshot, though, this is perfect casting. This is what I can say something about the Suicide Squad film. Most of the time, it's perfect casting. I said most of the time. We'll get to what's not perfect casting later on. But overall, Deadshot's perfect. I love the scene. I love, the relationship with him and his daughter is fantastic. And he has one of the best scenes in the film. Him with the Dark Knight, the Cape Crusader. I wish there was more of that in this movie. I wish there was more of Deadshot reacting with Batman in this film, because this film was cut down to such a minimum. Even with the extended cut, there's not a lot of stuff added. There's still some stuff that just got even wiped off the floor in this film, like when Harley Quinn says to the one guy that you're in deep mojo, but we never get to see what happens to that guy. And I thought, like, when I was watching the theatrical, it's like, okay, maybe that's gonna be in the extended. So when I got that, I was looking for that, and it was like, oh wait, it's not in the extended edition. This is just a scene that never got to the actual film. And I'm like, why have a scene that's never going to be? That would be such an interesting thing. But back to Deadshot, he's fantastic. They introduced him in this movie was fantastic. That kind of, he kind of has that moment with the one guy that's, I guess he's hiring somebody, and he's like, it's not how we deal things. You give me the money first, then I give you what you owed me. I give you the shot. And he gets some really good scenes in this film overall, and his reaction with the team in this film is so perfect. It's like such a perfect interaction with characters and development. You're like, oh yes, that's Will Smith. I remember that Will Smith is a good actor, and he's a good performer, and he can perform good stunts and good stunt work, and everything else is just being moved with such a good degree of character development. And Will Smith is fantastic as Deadshot. Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. I don't hate her performance of Harley Quinn, but it can get a kind of bit grating after a while. It kind of gets kind of annoying after a while. You're like, okay, she's good casting. And that mullet. I want to talk about her weapon, her little bat, that little big thing that she says once that people are about to die kind of thing. And she never uses that weapon. She sticks with her bat. So I hope in either the sequel or Suicide Squad or Birds of Prey, she has to use that big hammer thing, which I think that would be absolutely terrific in this film. Her scenes are just fine, especially in the extended cut. In the theatrical version, she's fine, but especially in the extended cut, we get one extra scene with her and the Joker. She's riding her motorcycle, and then she says, she points the gun at Joker's head, and she's like, you're afraid of my love, but you're not afraid of my guns. And that just shows how crazy the Joker is, which, trust me, we'll get to the Joker. Don't worry. I didn't forget about the Joker. The Joker's in this movie, and yeah, we'll get to that, don't worry. So Margot Robbie in the theatrical cut was but in the actually extended cut, she has some better scenes. She has a lot more scenes with the acting, with the entertainment, and I think she's best when she's fighting. but not when she's talking. That voice sometimes can get really, really annoying, and sometimes she can't even shut her mouth. There's a scene in the bar where what's his name? Captain Boomerang says, "Every time you open your mouth, it always gets in a knife fight," and that's true. She can't shut up just one time. Captain Boomerang in this movie, he's fine. He's okay. Why does Flash have the worst villains? Like Gorilla Grodd, Captain Boomerang. He has the worst villains. And speaking of Flash, when we get that robbery flashback with Amanda Roller, which will demand, I can't pronounce her name. We get a little glimpse of the Flash, which in his suit, which was the first thing we actually got of the Flash in his actual costume before Justice League. And yeah, that was a cool little Easter egg. But he's in there for what? Maybe 3 seconds. The longest is 3 seconds. And I'm not saying, he has to be in the movie forever, because this is not his movie. And also, I forgot to mention this with Margot Robbie. She has a lot of great scenes with Margot Robbie in this film. Her reaction with Captain Boomerang. She has a lot of good reactions with the Squad. Killer Croc is terrible. I mentioned this in my next Batman villains review, that I said I want a Killer Croc, but not the Suicide Squad Killer Croc. I want an actual Killer Croc. I hate Killer Croc, what they did to him. He's stupid, he's annoying, he's not the character from the comics. And they didn't even get some of him right. He's basically a human in makeup. And I'm not bashing the actor and saying, okay, he did an awful job. He should not be an actor anymore. He did a terrible job. He ruined the character. I'm not saying that at all. I wasn't a big Killer Croc fan, but I did really enjoy him. In this film, though, he's really stupid. I don't know if that's a word, but he can't understand a word he is saying. People complained about in The Dark Knight Rises where you can't understand what Bane is saying, or Batman. Why does no one, I've never heard anyone complain about that you can't understand really anything what Killer Croc is saying. You have to really, I'm talking super closely, pay attention to, even when you've seen the film, because I've seen about this film about 5 or 6 times, and I still don't sometimes know what he's saying. The people that I was watching with last night had to repeat what he's saying. I was like, oh, that's what he said. I can't understand a word he is saying. It's like, you make good points, man, but I didn't understand what he said. And at the end, when he gets a TV, That's really a point I want to mention, because he gets a TV. A TV! Oh, gosh. He's good. El Diablo is fine. He's probably one of the best characters of the Squad. He has some really good character events. Him in the bar mentioning the family, then he's like, I lost control and all this stuff. That's a really good scene. And I like how he doesn't, his character is the most, he's the most human out of everyone, even though that makes no sense, because he's not human, he's a meta-human. And he got a really good scene at the end battle, which we'll talk about later. And his death was actually pretty sad, not tear-worthy. I wasn't bawling on the ground or anything, but his death was pretty sad. And I don't think that I can remember he has any extended scenes really that much. Yeah. Slipknot, the guy who can climb things, I think that's his name, is really bad. Even though he gets like maybe 5 minutes of screen time, he's still really bad as a character. So I guess they just should have blew him off. Rick Flag is fine. He's fine. He's desperate. 2 times he gets captured by these little eye things, and it's like, okay, it's capture the flag. Get it? Do you get it? Because his name is Rick Flag, and capture the flag. That's a stupid joke. They made that, I think, twice joke, and he just always getting captured. And remember what Amanda Waller says? The best soldier I know. Him being the best soldier you know, he gets captured a heck of a lot. Like, he gets captured more than Okay, he doesn't get captured more than anyone I know, but still, he's annoying. And his backstory with Enchantress, well, trust me, we'll get to Enchantress, is just stupid. He's not an interesting character. They try to make kind of a Nick Fury type character, and it did not work. Absolutely did not work for me. Did not feel Rick Flagg's character. Over to the Enchantress is the worst villain I think I've ever seen in a film. She's really bad, and the backstory that we actually get to actually know about her is a really bad backstory. Like, she falls into this cave and she finds the Enchantress, which already similarly looks like her. Literally looks, and she's the worst villain. And she also dances. She looks like she's going to the bathroom. Yeah, she's crossing her legs, doing the hulu. It literally looks like she's going to the bathroom. She's a stupid villain. This villain does not belong in this scene. Also, her big buff doodle man, which I guess is her brother, she says that more than 50 times, is also bad. It's just a big muscly guy, but mostly it's just little squid guys. And if it wasn't for this big golden voodoo man, I don't even know his name. All she said was brother. I don't think she didn't. Let me know, guys, in the comments. Did that guy ever have a name? Let me know. But my goodness. Oh, man, was also okay. Manorola in this film, I don't really know her from the comics, so in this film she's fine. She's a good kind of villain, but not really villain, because she's not a villain, but she kind of is a villain. She literally just kills everybody in this room, and this is the whole plot of the film. They have to go save her. What's so important about her? That's a good question. That's an absolute fantastic question. What is so important about this girl? But she's fine. The exposition that she gives in the beginning is, it's pretty bad. It's actually really bad. It's so bad. It's actually really bad. The exposition they give, managing all the Suicide Squad. Let's talk about Jared Leto or Leto as the Joker. I'm not saying he has to be Heath Ledger. I respect the man for not being a Heath Ledger clone, but my goodness, is his performance. It's awkward for some odd reason. That added scene I talked about with the car, his scenes are just so awkward. That pool dip scene. I will say, though, the relationship between Margot Robbie and Jared Leto is actually a pretty good romance. It's really good, and that I would like to see a separate movie with that. That's probably what was going to be the Harley Quinn and Joker movie, which probably is going to get canceled because the DC and Warner Brothers don't know what they're doing. They find a story and they find a script. Shocking Birds of Prey is actually happening, but that's a long story. But his performance is just so, it's odd. I don't know how to perform it. He's not bad, but he's not great. Jared Leto's not a bad actor. It's just his performance in the Joker as the Joker is not really the Joker from the comics. It's basically, he doesn't do anything that's memorable. He doesn't have a memorable line. The only thing that's memorable about him is the laugh. That kind of high-pitched laugh. That was an awful interpretation. Wow, that's going to be seen by thousands of people. Holy moly! Well, I didn't think about that before I did it. Oh crap! That's the only thing that's memorable. He's really over the top with the tattoos and the metal teeth and the bright green. Oh geez, the bright green hair. Let's talk about that bright green hair. I don't know if anyone's mentioned that, but that is just so over the top, in your face. Oh, I'm bright. Look at me. I'm the Joker. And also the tattoo with the little hand thing is also really stupid. That is like the most dumbest thing ever. And he's not the villain. I wanted him to be at the villain. At the end, when he saves Harley Quinn, actually he fakes his death as well. Is a pretty bad scene. Him faking his own death. You know you're in for a treat when somebody's faking their own death. Yeah, just say it. So what else is I think I've covered the cast. How's the direction of this movie? There is none. Okay, that's really harsh, but really this movie has no big direction. It's kind of this stuff happening on screen, and that's what really disappointed me in this movie. The direction they went for is there's a lot of pop songs in this movie. There's a lot of pop songs in this movie. There's so many pop songs, I can't even remember half of the pop songs. There's like so many songs. The only one that really fits is Bohemian Rhapsody at the very end, which they showed in the trailer, and I wish it was played more. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but there's so much songs that they don't mesh well, if you know what I mean. They don't mesh like, okay, we need a good song now for a good choice. It's almost reminded me of Kong Skull Island. Oh, we need a good song because we need this movie to have a soundtrack. People complain that Guardians has too much songs. It fits that world. The Guardians is a goofy character. The Suicide Squad is a Suicide Squad, and it's bad. Most of the song choices, they're good songs, but they just don't fit the universe that they built. I think they were trying to make this movie dark, scary, intense, but also kind of fun, light-hearted. And sometimes the music just doesn't feel like the film is balanced. And that's one of the biggest parts I don't like about Suicide Squad. The film feels rushed. Just like Justice League, I think the only superhero movies that weren't rushed was Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Wonder Woman. Suicide Squad and Justice League were rushed to bits, especially Justice League, but that's a different video, that's a different story, which I'll probably have to do someday. I'm not looking forward to doing that. Gosh. I'm not saying this is a bad movie, but it feels rushed. The story just feels rushed. The big blue beam in the sky, which is back. Ever since the Avengers and Transformers Dark of the Moon, everyone is just doing a big, bright thing in the sky because, that's what people want, right? That's what the audience wants, just a bright blue sky. Also, the setting is disgusting. The action isn't terrible. There's actually some really good action scenes in this movie. The scene with Deadshot and Harley Quinn in the elevator, all this stuff is good, but it's fine. It's not anything like Aquaman or Wonder Woman or Man of Steel or BVS. It's fine. The story isn't complex like Inception or the Dark Knight trilogy. This movie was playing it a bit too safe. And that's one of my biggest complaints. People complain about... I hate to say this, but at least Batman vs. Superman took some risks. There were some risks that movie took that paid off. Man of Steel took some risk. It was the most... Justice League was the most safest, blandish superhero movie they could do with some superhero schlock. That's what the MCU doesn't do. It doesn't play a lot of movies safe. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2. Thor Ragnarok. Avengers Infinity War. None of these movies play anything safe. The MCU started with making a movie called Iron Man, an unknown character, an unknown thing, and making come to a household name. That's what this movie... DC has a better advantage. They have characters that people love. The Joker, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Aquaman. Aquaman was a joke, but until James Wan made it into an absolute killer... absolutely a killer thing. But they have household name characters. The MCU didn't have household name characters. Well, there was Captain America, there was the Hulk, but they weren't big stream characters. The Guardians of the Galaxy was one of the most biggest risks Marvel has done. And yes, not everyone knows about the Suicide Squad. I didn't know much about the Suicide Squad when this film came out, so I guess the film showed me too. The Suicide Squad, but the film plays it so safe. That's one of my biggest problems with Justice League. It's an average superhero movie with, the villains trying to take over the world and the heroes have to stop him. That is the most generic plot point that any superhero movie could do. It is. It's the most generic, schlocky stuff that was like, okay, Zack Snyder had an issue, and I get that. I get that Zack Snyder had a problem with his, I think, daughter or something committing suicide. So, getting back on topic, this film just feels so generic. The best scene in this film is the bar scene. Okay, let's scratch that. The best scene in this film is the Deadshot and Batman scene, which lasts about 2 minutes. If that, it's a really good scene, but it makes no sense. The daughter's standing in front of Deadshot. He turns a bit to the left. Bit to the right. He just turns a bit and he could shoot. And has this always happened? Has Batman always carried cuffs? Because I don't remember, maybe in the comics, but I haven't read a lot of comics. Maybe he always has carried cuffs, and I'm just a big, oblivious little person that doesn't know anything about superheroes. That's probably the case. But has Batman always carried cuffs? How's Batman in this movie? He's in 2 scenes, and he's fine. He's just there to be there. And if they in the sequel, I would like more Batman and Deadshot. But that probably won't happen. It's a good scene, the best scene in this film. The best scene in this film is probably the Deadshot. The second best thing at the end is the end scene with Deadshot and the daughter doing homework. Because that scene is the most human of the film. And a lot of people say the bar scene's the best scene. It is. Diablo tells his story until Harley Quinn gets mad because Diablo kills women and children. Deadshot, on the other hand, he's a mass murderer. He just kills men. But Harley Quinn, an insane lunatic that is dating the Joker, is upset. It makes no sense. It's so off for the character. It's like we were doing the character justice. It's like the director's like, okay, we need a scene that can be heartwarming for the fans, and what does the fans want? Oh, they want Harley Quinn to show some sympathy for a guy. Harley Quinn is an insane lunatic. She does not need to show, oh, I feel bad for you. I'm so sorry that you did that. I'm gonna boo-hoo and moan and cry. The Harley Quinn I know, and especially from the Harley Quinn from this movie. It's not just the Harley Quinn from the comics or the animated films. It's the Harley Quinn from this film. The Harley Quinn that they built through this film is just, oh my goodness. What were they thinking when they were writing this scene? It was so good and so impactful and so intense. That's why the bar scene is one of my favorite scenes until it gets to that point. Until Harley Quinn's be like, sorry, man, I can't really help you much. It's just, it's an okay thing, I guess. No. This film has to have a proper motive. The editing, oh my gosh, don't even get me started on the editing. Editing is so, it's like the editor was on drugs or something. It's like he was drunk while editing this movie. There's so much, like when Harley Quinn is being tortured and she's like, director's like, I'm not gonna kill you, I'm just gonna hurt you really, really bad. I can take it. And it's edited. She's like, what? And it's like such edited. There's like 3 shots of just the Joker standing there and just being absolutely the Joker, and it's so utterly awful. That editing is just so bad. If James Gunn is going to direct the sequel, and he said he's writing the sequel, but if he was going to direct the sequel, get a better editor. This film was edited to absolute garbage. It's such a bad edited film. Why does all these DCEU films, besides Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman and Wonder Woman, get destroyed? Suicide Squad and Justice League could have been fantastic. I like Suicide Squad. I don't hate it. I really do hate Justice League. But they could have been so much better if they just took the time. But no, Warner Bros. Is like, I need the studio to be, okay, I need the studio to be this. I'm not hating Warner Brothers. Warner Bros., I do enjoy you. I loved Aquaman. Wonder Woman was a blast. Batman vs Superman, I like it. And Man of Steel is good. And Suicide Squad, I do enjoy. And Justice League just felt rushed to me. I'm not hating on Warner Brothers. I do love Batman. Batman is my second favorite superhero above Spider-Man. It would go Spider-Man then Batman. And I love Green Lantern too. Green Lantern was fantastic, and his movie got destroyed too. And that was supposed to be the first DCEU movie. Did you know that? The Green Lantern film was actually supposed to start this whole DC extended universe. Suicide Squad, this felt rushed. The final battle is just a typical final battle. It's just a typical. The script in this movie is also pretty horrible, and overall, I don't hate Suicide Squad. I think it's a fun, enjoyable film, and I'm going to give Suicide Squad a C. It's a good movie. I would really recommend it. Yeah, thank you guys so much. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. How do you guys like the new audio? I got a mic now, so hopefully the audio is improving. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like it down below, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and comment below. Let me know you guys saw of Suicide Squad, the theatrical and the extended cut if you've seen it. And I'll see how you love it, folks. And the next one, goodbye. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.